Doctor Strange 2 in the Madness of Multiverse, directed by none other than Sam freaking Raimi. Music given by Danny Elfman and screenplay written by Michael Waldron. Now, Michael Waldron has also worked on Rick and Morty and Loki, just a side fact. Well, uh, if you would have asked me my most anticipated film of this year, it would have been Doctor Strange 2 and Across the Spider Verse. I think Across the Spider Verse is delayed to 2023. And, well, anyways, but yes, it was easily my most anticipated film of this year. And the sole reason was because of Sam Raimi, because I'm a huge fan of the original Spider Man trilogy with Tobey Maguire. And to see Sam Raimi return back to make another Marvel movie, I mean, that was just like everything to me. I mean, I'm not only talking about the Spider-Man films, but if you have seen his movies like The Evil Dead and Drag Me to Hell with Bruce Campbell, and even one of the westerns, The Quick and the Dead with Sharon Stone and Russell Crowe and Gene Hackman, he is an amazing director. I always loved his work, his craft, the way he handles camera, and the way he carries on the horror aspect in his films. Now, I will say that this film is probably the closest you are going to get when it comes to a horror type of film when it comes to the MCU, because MCU has a always had a tone which is lighthearted and very kind of humorous and stuff. But this film was definitely dark, and dark not in the meaning of let's say depressing like the Batman. The dark, I mean, in the art and the visual direction of the film. The visual storytelling was like off the charts. I mean, this film had Sam Raimi handprints all over it. I mean, it was clear that only Sam Raimi and Sam Raimi only can make a film like this, because this film did not hold back when it comes to showing some of the more brutal things. Because like I said, Marvel always kind of holds back. I mean, especially if you see the Venom movies, which were, I mean, the second part, they butchered Carnage just to make it PG-13. But Sam Raimi obviously had a lot of independence when it comes to the visual art and style, because I do not think that any other director could have gotten away with it. Because, like I said, it's a bit dark. It has like a horror-esque gothic type of feel to it, which is something I deeply appreciate, because it was really nice to see something unique in the MCU after like such a very long time. Now, moving on, one thing I will say, that people need to learn how to manage your expectations. Now, I will say I did not see the trailer of the film. Now, you might be wondering that did I know about Patrick Stewart? Now, actually, in my YouTube feed, one of the mixed reactions channel, he actually spoiled the title, said that people's reaction to Patrick Stewart. I was like, man, goddamn, I wish it did not come into my feed, because I usually do not watch reaction channels. Like, it's extremely rare. But no, it is what it is. But other than that, I did not see anything. So I went in this movie like complete blind. I mean, yeah, one thing, the teaser which we saw in the end of No Way Home. I mean, when you saw No Way Home, the post-credit scenes, which are actually a trailer for. I mean, that was the only thing I saw, and I only saw once. That's it. Other than that, no TV spot commercials or no second trailer with the Patrick Stewart or anything. No director's commentary or any sort of opinion. Nothing. Like absolutely zero. So when I went into this film, uh, I had a blank slate. I did not know what to expect. I mean, of course, I was expecting some, mind-bending style of Doctor Strange films. I mean, one thing I would like to highlight, that visually speaking, this is the most spectacular, mind-altering, enthralling, captivating, and the most dazzling Marvel film like ever put to cinema. I mean, seriously, you have to give a huge shout out to all the visual effect artists, because the stuff in this movie is downright insane. It's intoxicating. It's wow. I mean, the wow factor was off the charts in the film. The way it was shown and portrayed, like I mentioned previously, the visual storytelling was freaking awesome. I mean, I was extremely impressed, and these people deserve a lot of praise for their visual effects, because without the movie, because without those, the movie would feel bland. Now, talking about the visual effects, I mean, we have seen the first Doctor Strange. I think it was directed by Scott Derrickson, and he did a great job. Okay, he was fantastic. and then you saw in Infinity Wars, Doctor Strange versus Thanos, and then you had Spider-Man No Way Home. But this film was like off the charts, visually speaking, one of the one of the best visual effects ever put to cinema in history. I mean, seriously, it's awesome. This film is worth alone just for its special effects. Now, one my major complaint with the movie was that the runtime was quite short. Now, I think, I mean, after I watched the movie, I was like, man, this movie could have utilized 20, 30, maybe even 40 minutes extra. I mean, allow the characters to flourish a little bit more. I mean, let the script breathe a little because I felt like they were trying to rush things too much. I mean, I can understand that they wanted to create an element of chaos because again, it's the multiverse madness. I can get that, but I still think that the pacing was like way too fast. I mean, some people can appreciate that. I'm not against it. I'm just saying that this movie could have slowed down a little because like I mentioned before, it felt like some of the parts were edited out. Some of the parts were like, to me, it felt like, okay, they had done some reshoots, or maybe they have cut out some of the parts. I mean, that's the only complaint with the film. Now, I know that a lot of people went into this movie expecting some downright insane things. Like some of them were expecting uh, Tom Cruise as a superior Iron Man. Some of them were expecting Wolverine, Hugh Jackman. Some were even expecting Tobey Maguire, because the movie is directed by Sam Raimi. Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. Maybe he will make it. So, like I said in the beginning of the video, that people need to learn how to manage their expectations because you have to understand that after No Way Home, I mean, No Way Home gave literally one of the most beloved villains in Marvel history, and we should be grateful for that. I mean, they were not only brought back just as cameos; they were fleshed out, and they were also given a good script with their performance. So it enhanced the overall experience. Now with this movie, since we had a lot of high expectations with No Way Home, and they were fortunately met, now people were expecting like Marvel will drop everything, Fantastic Four or Midnight Suns and the X-Men and God knows what, Dark Avengers, I don't know, Secret Invasion. They were expecting everything to be in this movie. Now you have to understand that it would have been a bad idea to include all these characters like Wolverine or Hugh Jackman. I mean, these characters which we want to see. I mean, believe I'm a huge fan of Hugh Jackman Wolverine, but I will say that the movies need a breathing space. That if you're going to show everything in this, then what are you going to show in the future films? I mean, you have to understand spacing out the characters, spacing out the cameos is very essential to maintain the consistency and hype of the films. If you are going to make a movie and you have installed all these beloved characters which people have been asking for, then there will be nothing to look forward to. Try to understand your expectation and your hyping of the film will be the only problem with this movie. The movie did not disappoint me in any way because, like I said, well, spoilers as you can see in the title, seeing Reed Richards was freaking fantastic. I mean, of course, Charles Xavier was, like I said, it got spoiled for me. But seeing Reed Richards gave me a bleak hope for a Doom film because Doctor Doom is my all-time favorite villain from the comics. No matter Marvel, DC, he is my absolute favorite. So watching him, I was like, okay, so Marvel is opening up the possibility of Fantastic Four. And the best part that he was reprised by John Krasinski. Now we had a different actor. I kind of forgot his name. What his name? Ian or something. I can't remember. But in this film, he was reprised by John Krasinski, and people have been kind of expecting, I don't know, fantasizing, if you will, that John Krasinski might play the role of Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic. And I was quite surprised to see that Marvel actually listened. I mean, No Way Home was the biggest example that Marvel listens to its fans. But yeah, I was like, okay, cool. But again, in the film, they actually, they killed the Illuminati. Charles Xavier and everyone died horrible death. I mean, wow, Wanda was a freaking psychopath. I'll get to Elizabeth Olsen a bit later. Well, so yeah, as I was saying, that it opened up the possibility of Fantastic Four, which means that you need to space out what you are going to show to the audience. Showing X-Men, Fantastic Four, Deadpool, everything in one movie does not work. It's a bad idea. I know at a surface level, it might look like, okay, we got to see this, we got to see that. I mean, you have to understand, you have to be a bit mature with your expectations and understand that as movies will come out, there will be Doctor Strange 3, and there will be even more films which will include the concept of multiverse. There's plenty of opportunities. Then they can show all these characters you want. Okay, so people need to relax. They need to settle down and understand that not everything has to happen right now in order for them to be good. Yeah, try to understand what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to defend here anything. I'm just asking people to be a bit reasonable. It's okay to get hyped. It's okay to have expectations, but you also need to be reasonable for your own sake. I mean, this film. I mean, if you went in this film expecting like everything like A to Z, uh, there's nothing about it. I mean, what you can do? You will be disappointed because you set expectation like extremely weirdly high, which I do not think you should have done in the first place. You got to be a bit realistic with what you want to see. Other than that, I don't think there was anything wrong with the film per se. Like I said, except for the runtime, the script needed more time, more room for itself to kind of span out wings and breathe and show its full colors. But that's fine. I think somebody mentioned to me. I think I was reading one of the YouTube comments that there's like a 3 hour version, and supposedly it's R-rated. Maybe it's fake. I don't know because I personally have not heard of such news. To be fair, so it's possible it's fake. But if is there like a 3 hours kind of director's cut version, man, I'll be down to see it. I mean, I personally think that they should not have cut parts from the film. I mean, look at No Way Home. This No Way Home was perfectly paced. It was not too short. It was not too dragged out. It was perfect from starting to finish. They had enough good. They have built the momentum. They followed that momentum in the second act, and then the third act, which felt extremely rewarding, and then the movie ended. But this film, it personally felt to me like the second act was kind of rushed. I mean, it was like, okay, we need to get to the point. We need to show this. We need to show that. So I was like, huh. I mean, okay, it did not derail my interest, but I'm just saying that cutting the film short, cutting it to like 2 hours, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, was a disfavor for the script and the people that were watching it. I mean, that's my only major issue. I was extremely happy to see Charles Xavier reprised by Patrick Stewart, and we got to see Black Bolt, and we got to see Reed Richards because I'm a huge fan of the Fantastic Four, especially Jonathan Hickman's run on the Fantastic Four. I mean, I love these people. I mean, these characters, and it opened up the possibility for Doctor Doom. So there's that. So I was quite satisfied with the cameos and with the script on how they decided to portray these characters. I think it was fine. I was satisfied with it. I was deeply impressed by the art style, the visual style of the special effects, the horror gothic esque type of things, which are like I think mentioned before. I loved it. I think it was absolutely gorgeous. It was breathtaking, so unique from your typical Marvel films. I mean, like Shang-Chi was like very unique. Similarly, Doctor Strange 2 is very unique. And one thing I will say that people who are complaining about the CGI, I mean, what do you expect? You expect multiverse thing to be real? I mean, what? That's stupid. Of course, the concept, the very concept of multiverse is absurd. It does not exist. I mean, some people argue, but let's be real, it does not exist. So of course, there's going to be reliance on CGI and special effects. I mean, people are they're weird about complain. It was not a Jackie Chan movie with hand-to-head fight sequences. It was a mind-bending Inception type of film. Of course, there will be a lot of CGI. So that's a weird complaint as well. Now, one thing which absolutely blew my mind. And I don't know, I don't think a lot of people are talking about it, if you ask me personally, but people are not appreciating Elizabeth Olsen's performance. Wow, she was awesome. I think she had given her best performance in in the entirety of Marvel since 2014. I think the first time she came as Wanda Maximoff was in Age of Ultron. That is in 2014, right? Well, I don't know. Whatever it is, she gave her best performance. She was a great villain. She was scary. She was very ambitious, and she was ruthless. And literally, she embodied the concept of an overly protective mom, or I mean, she was a freaking psychopath. I mean, if you see the movie, the way she killed Black Bolt, the way she killed Agent Carter was gruesome. It was gruesome. And the Charles Xavier sequences when she came from behind that red smoke and she was like, That was amazing. Not only that, that one sequence when she was trying to enter into the fortress of Kamartaj and she was trying to come through reflection. She came in like a zombie. That's exactly what Sam Raimi did in his Evil Dead films. You know, this body deformation and eventually taking form. I was like, God damn, that's so creepy and sadistic, but it's also at the same time so awesome. And seeing all that black and red in the background, the theme, it was gorgeous, man. It was amazing. Thematically speaking, visually speaking, the art direction. There's direction and there's the art direction. Art direction of this film was best of all the Marvel I have seen in the entire. I mean, of all the MCU films, the art direction easily surpasses any MCU film I've ever seen. It was amazing. I mean, wow, Sam Raimi outdid himself when it comes to the art direction. And I do not know if you paid attention to some of the tidbits. I mean, the way the Supreme Strange was killed, kinda, kinda reminded me of how Green Goblin died in the first Spider-Man movie. He was impaled like in a brutal manner. I was not expecting Marvel to show it because it was quite brutal, to be honest. I was not expecting that in a PG-13 movie. Of course, it did not have a lot of blood spurt or anything, but still, I was like, damn. And another kind of tidbit it reminded me was the time Doctor Strange summoned the zombie Strange, and his hand came out of those bricks. It reminded me of the Green Goblin in the first Spider-Man film. You know that specific fight scene where Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man you know he webs up a wall and he pulls it down and the wall falls on the Green Goblin and he comes out of it with his hand like this. It was kind of a homage. I do not know, but it was awesome. I mean, uh, this in the second Spider-Man film with the hospital scene with Doctor Strange, I mean Doctor Octopus. I'm sorry, the hospital scene with Doctor Octopus was extremely brilliantly done. But in this film, the art direction, like I mentioned, was fantastic, especially near the very end where they summoned the souls of the damned and the zombie Strange, the hands coming out of his bag. I mean, you know that the same sequence we saw in Infinity Wars. It was gorgeous. It was freaking amazing. And Elizabeth Olsen's performance was absolutely brilliant. It was amazing. I wish more people give credit to her acting. She was brilliant. She was really awesome. She was a scary psychopath. I mean, the way she killed those villains, man. I mean, it was pure cold-blooded murders. I don't know what else to say. She was a literal psychopath. I mean, wow. She was like she embodied the concept of evil. I mean, she really is the Scarlet Witch. There was no Wanda left in her. It was amazing. I mean, I love, and I live for these brutality, these brutal things. I mean, I don't know. I'm sorry if I sound a bit sadistic, but I love these type of things, man. I think it was amazing, and she's easily one of the more and the scarier villains of the MCU. She was freaking fantastic, and she was disgustingly overpowered. I mean, wow. The fact before dying, she killed every dark hole in every universe. I mean, wow, can you even think of that? People say that there are infinite realities. So she killed the dark hole in all those realities. I mean, wow. I mean, seriously, man. That was an amazing cathartic kind of end for her. I mean, it kind of reminded you of Dr. Octopus. Like he said, I will not die, monster. And he threw that machine into the river. Similarly, she died by killing off every dark hole and she kind of sacrificed herself. I mean, at least it looked like that she killed herself. I mean, the red blast in the end signified that. I don't know. I mean, like it's multiverse and magic and mind altering things. Anything is possible nowadays. So I don't know what to say about that. But yeah, she was a great villain. This film belonged to Wanda as much as it belonged to Doctor Strange. And as far as the role of America Chavez is concerned, I think the actor for America Chavez did fine. I think she was okay. She was good, and she did what she could with the script and the role she had written for her. I think that's great. I would not mind seeing her again, a bit more mature. I would say I would like to see her in a more mature role with a more adhering script, which favors to her. Well, I can understand in this film was all about Wanda and Strange, and that's fine. But I will like to see more of her in the upcoming films. Now, as far as the plot holes are concerned, like I said before, this is not a grounded reality like the Batman, where corrupt politicians exist, where good guys and the bad guys and corrupt politicians are messing up the innocent poor. I mean, there's no room for convoluted elements in grounded scripts, like the Batman. But when you are exploring magic and multiverse and all sort of absurd amount, insane amount of stuff, it had to be plot hole because magic is not real. Multiverse and these things are not real. So if you're making a movie that's based on the concept of multiverse, it is bound to have some plot holes. Like I said, I mean, if it was like a movie that's extremely realistic, like very grounded, like let's say The Dark Knight, and it still managed to have convolutions, I mean, that would be weird. That would be unacceptable. But in this context, I think it was absolutely fine to have some of the things which might go over your head. I think uh, this film, I would not say it's the like, oh my god, it's the best Marvel film ever, but it was amazing, and this film was alone worth it for its visual effects and art direction. And I would love to see Sam Raimi return as director, and he makes another movie. I mean, I think it would be awesome if he would return as the director of Doctor Strange 3. I mean, like we have no confirmed Doctor Strange 3 news yet, but they said in the end Doctor Strange will return. So yeah, I'm optimistic, and this film was absolutely amazing. And the amount of insanity the script had, I think Sam Raimi did an absolutely fantastic job. And with the amount of screen time which the movie had, like 2 hours 6 minutes, I think they did what they could have. But yeah, like I mentioned previously, the movie could have utilized 30-40 minutes. Maybe it was meant to be longer, because like I said, it felt like it had to be cut down, it had to be chopped off for, I don't know, pacing issues, I don't know. But yeah, I think the movie was fantastic. I was completely satisfied. I did not overhype it for myself. I had reasonable, manageable expectations, and I cannot wait for the future of MCU, and especially the future of Fantastic Four and X Men. I would love to see them come back in some different sort of way. And yeah, I mean, that's about it. Although, yeah, one thing I would like to mention, that I would love to see a team up of Spider-Man, Deadpool, and Daredevil. I mean, wow, I want to see that. Okay, I just want a Spidey and a Deadpool duo so bad in the MCU now. I mean, since with the possibility of multiverse, I think it's completely possible. As of now, I do not have anything much to say. I think I have clearly laid out my feelings about this movie. It's not a perfect movie, but it does not need to be perfect. The only major issue was the runtime. It could have been longer. That's it. I mean, if you had any complaints, I mean, if you think that the story was not good, or if you think that you were satisfied with the runtime, if you had any issues, please let me know. What do you think? And I'll catch you later in another review. Bye.